Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bears on Tap. Took a week off. Feels like a million, but I feel like $1,000,000. The Bears have 100 million. They got the number one draft pick. We're waiting to see, what the suitors were. We're kind of like, that girl at the end of the night in the club trying to find out which guy she's going home with. We're trying to find out which draft picks we're going home with and which players we're going to pick up in the draft. And I'm so excited about this time of the year. But Q, we got some fun stuff planned for today. How have you been, my guy?
I've been doing good, man. Just grinding the film as always. Trying to think I'm up to 90 prospects watched, almost entirely in the trenches. So I'm just grinding.
Oh yeah, no, I already know you love living in the trenches, and it's a thing that we have to attack this year. Offensive line, defensive line. I wouldn't even hate to see, the extension of the offensive trenches added to maybe a depth tight end for this roster. Someone that I'm not saying Colt Kmet needs a break because give him as many snaps and as many targets as he needs, but we do need a second tight end option, so I wouldn't hate that as well. But
it's a good draft for it.
Well, it very well is, yeah. I got Laporta in one of my mocks. It's mock draft season where everyone just does their mocks. Shout out to all the people that have been doing Quentin's model, figuring out which free agents and which draft players that you want to get. But yeah, it's speculation season. As you see in my name, it's JF Warner. Go fuck yourself. Everyone right now has been. You know what I'm saying though? Like I don't want to see the Justin Fields trade discourse anymore. I guess I'll just address it at the top, and then we'll get into all the fun stuff. But like, I think it's mad that we're sitting here and a portion of our fan base and a portion of the national media and even some of our own media members are sitting here and saying it's time to trade Justin Fields so that we can go and get yet like another player that, they had a great college career, right? CJ Stroud looked great in college. Bryce Young looked great in college. I'm not going to say Will Levis looked great in college, but if we draft Will Levis, like I'll never be a Bears fan again. Like I will just not watch the NFL. But Justin Fields is our quarterback. We have not put an ample enough of weapons like wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs, and we're not even going to pay Monty, which is something that we'll probably talk about today because the running back situation may be up in arms. But the way I look at it is like we need to rally behind Justin Fields. If he's not it by the end of his contract, he'll be gone. But we're not paying him that much money. We don't need to go after another quarterback. Let's give Justin Fields his go at this. Let's give him the receivers. Let's give him a line. And let's give him a good – I'm not going to say we're going to get the top 10 defense, but at least a good enough defense because I think the main focus for these teams when it comes – or when the Bears go into free agency is they're going to attack a lot of offensive line, wide receivers, and tight ends. I think it will be a like 60-40 offense as far as this offseason goes.
Yeah, I'm split on that. Like this draft feels so stacked in the O-line and D-line to me that it's just like, man, I wish free agency had better skill position guys, because this draft, I feel like you can get 3-4 starters in the trenches. Yeah. And the Bears are going to be picking 4 or 5 times in the top 100 picks, like with the trade down. They're going to have a ton of picks to get quality players.
And I would like to make a quick announcement as the leader of the Chase Claypool fan club. With the trade down, like you said, Quinn said trade down, the pick is rejuvenated, okay? Get off my boy's back. Get off his back now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could have had another. But
yes, fine. Don't say that. Continue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're good. Like, man, like, and it hits a point for me where it's like, I mean, they're going to go after a right tackle, right? They're going to go after McGlinchey or McGarry Orlando Brown's not going to hit the market, but they're going to go after one of those two, I'm pretty sure, and they'll probably get one of them, which, like, is great, but at the same time, I'm sitting here going, man, I'd rather have Darnell Wright or Matt Bergeron than either of them, And it's like, it's that tough spot because, and then it's like, yeah, you could take Bergeron and play him at left tackle, but then you're going to kick Braxton Jones inside, which I'm generally okay with, but like also some people might not be okay with that.
Well, didn't he?
people at Hallis Hall because they liked the way that he played.
I was gonna say, didn't he grade out as like the highest graded for his position this year on PFF, or like up there? He was up there.
Or among rookies, yeah.
Run rookies, okay.
Yeah, like he was up there with the best. But if I'm being honest, I think that's heavily dictated by the fact that Bears ran the ball a lot. Bears didn't do much drop back passing. I mean, you can only grade what's on the tape, and if the tape is all play action and running the football, that's what you're grading.
Yeah.
It's the curve here is a little different. It's like earlier this offseason, or like I think it was actually still during the season, but it felt like the offseason. I compared it to the PFF grades to taking, calculus because you're an engineering major in college to algebra 2 in high school.
I took neither.
You might have gotten an A in algebra 2, but that don't mean jack about your ability to do calculus as an engineer. And that's what the grading system's the same. Teacher's going to give you an A in here, but you might get a C once you go up and start playing in the Kansas City offense, or a D, or it's like it changes once you're dropping back that much. The assignments change.
I mean, Q, you are talking to a man that still uses a calculator to check his over-unders in basketball. So, like, math gives me hell. So I'm not a big math guy, but I think one thing too that really needs to be addressed. So yeah, if you're not on the Justin Fields train, like I had to bring out the jersey, had to show some support. That's my quarterback. I'll go to war for that guy. Like, also too, fuck Dan Wiederer. Or no, it wasn't Dan Wiederer. Well, also Dan Wiederer is kind of an asshole. But Joe Colley Sports, the guy that was like Justin Fields doesn't work hard. He was like sucking Kenny Pickett dry because Kenny Pickett Kenny Pickett's social team posted a workout video from his Twitter. Like, is that what we're really grading quarterbacks on in the offseason? Like, if you think Justin Fields is sitting up in his room right now playing Call of Duty, eating Cheetos, you're crazy. Like, Justin Fields is working out every day. He's probably at some point going to get together with his receivers in the offseason. The narrative that maybe he's not a hard worker or maybe he doesn't want it bad enough also needs to go. We need to rally behind this kid. But in between all the tangents, you did get some support. Scott from Iowa, he said, Buckus, I love that you are so obsessed in reference to your film study. And then Lop says, what's good, my guys? Lop, you have put in a lot of work this last week. Thank you for all that you do.
I didn't run this for you pre-show, but aside from the thing I did run by you, I got a couple would you rather scenarios for you if you're cool with running through them.
I'll do some would you rather's. I'm always down for that. I got one more comment though that I want to get to before we do those. But so Scott again. So Allen, Hurts, and Tua all struggled until they got all pro talent put around them. Anyone want to trade Justin Fields should just move for shut God. I'm sorry. I didn't see that last part. But Scott from Iowa is always unfiltered. As you saw, my tone went down. I have no hate for anyone except for the state of Detroit Mercy for not scoring enough points tonight. But that's on me.
Oh, did they not? I think I was on them.
I took.
Wait, did they win or cover? No, this is a Bears podcast, not a baseball podcast.
None of the above and the under hit. I took the over. It's awful. But one thing too, if you go back to the offensive side of the ball, we got to address it right away. The David Montgomery situation. He was down at the Super Bowl. He said, like, dude, he basically said, I want to be a Bear for life. And, like, what are we doing? Are we going to extend Monty, or are we about to lose the running back that has been the staple of our offense for the last 5 years?
I don't think he's coming back. I mean, maybe he is, but, like, I wouldn't be shocked if they wanted to reward a guy who's put in the work, and it's going to be a question of where his price tag is and what other teams are willing to go to. And this is a bad year to be a free agent running back. I mean,
it is.
You got a lot of options on the market. You have a stacked draft class. This running back draft class is absolutely stacked. Like there are guys who I would consider having over Monty in the 4th round, 3rd round, like area, just because they're going to be so much cheaper and under contract long term and younger. I mean, I
Now,
think that's the brutal side of the business, but I think that is what it is.
I gotta ask you: are we going back to the well that is the Tulane Green Wave for that 4th-round running back?
In most of my mocks,
is that who you're thinking of?
In most of my mocks,
Tajay
is a bear.
I literally got the Forte jersey like dry hanging in the room next to me because I wore it last week for some odd reason because I'm just a Bears guy. But dude, that'd be sick. But
or the kid out of East Carolina, I take a lot in my mocks too.
Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, Keaton Mitchell.
Oh well, why would you expect him to go to the Bears? Because he got drafted to the USFL this week. I saw that, and I'm like, and then I start doing research, and I'm looking at some of the guys, and I'm like, oh wow, they're probably just drafting the rights if something goes wrong, which is cool. But like, somebody else should probably get that spot.
Yeah,
kind of brutal, but yeah. So if you look at it from your perspective, let's say hypothetically speaking, which definitely won't happen, so I don't know why I'm even asking. Say the Bears don't get any running backs at all in the draft, and they don't sign Monty. Who's the free agent that you want if it comes to that?
I mean, Saquon Barkley is interesting. Let me put it that way. Like, I can't say that I want him because I don't want to pay a running back what they would have to pay. But there is a point here where it's like,
Daniel Jones is asking for $45 million a year. There's not enough money in there.
I mean, I think the Giants I think they actually might have enough money. But it's like they can't tag him.
Yeah.
They can't tag him because they're going to have to tag Jones unless they come to an agreement with Jones before the tag deadline.
That'd be insane. That'd be insane. He's the biggest reason why they got to the playoffs this year. Saquon Barkley.
And it's just like, I'm fully aware of the analytics discussions and like tend to agree with them of like, don't pay running backs big money. I think we're seeing Zeke in Dallas be a great example of why you don't right now. They're in a real pickle because of that contract. But the Bears have enough money to burn that they can structure a contract where they can get out of it in 2-3 years and have one of the most explosive players in the NFL next to Saquon Barkley.
I was like, which way are you going with this? I was waiting to fill in the blanks for you. Oh, shit, I moved my whole laptop, but I was waiting to fill in the blanks for you because I'm like, well, yeah, Saquon's electric. Justin Fields is electric. Alap said Josh Jacobs. That'd be another good option, but I think
Jacobs would be an interesting one too.
Cheaper. He'd probably be cheaper than Saquon. But
Tony Pollard, if the Cowboys can't keep him, I think Tony Pollard's at the top of my list.
Alap said that too. You and Alap are on the same page right now. There's a lot of talent out there.
I was looking because my co-host on Shaving Points is a big Cowboys fan, like lifelong diehard Cowboys fan. We were looking through after our show last night some of the Cowboys cap situation. They're in a tough spot, man. Like, I mean, they're probably gonna have to restructure Dak, but if they don't restructure Dak, they're at like $6 million in cap space and no place else to really save.
Cooked. And we saw what happened to them after they played a real playoff team in the playoffs. So I don't know. I'm aboard the Saquon train. I'm a Saquon guy.
And I legitimately hate the idea of paying a running back that just because it's hard to, especially a running back who's had injury issues. I have a really hard time with that. Yeah. But like, also, he's just going to be the best offensive playmaker that you can sign at any position this offseason. And the Bears are just desperate for offensive playmakers.
I think one that makes maybe more sense because I think the Giants will probably do anything in their power to get Saquon back. I think the one that makes the most sense would be Josh Jacobs because you got the disgruntled relationship with the Raiders. You saw his media at the end of the season, and he's not like a bad guy or an asshole by any means. He's just fed up and he wants to get out of Las Vegas, which after a couple 2-3 days or 2-3 years, you really want to just get out of Las Vegas, no matter what the situation is. But yeah, dude, I think Josh Jacobs is possibly the most realistic. But like you said, if there is an opportunity to get Saquon Barkley in this offense, I don't know how you pass it up if the price is right,
Yeah, so with Jacobs, the thing that slows me down on him, and I mean, he just put up an incredible season, absolutely. But like year before, in 2021, 4 yards a carry, 870 yards. Year before that, 3.9 yards a carry. He was good as a rookie. So then, like, what happened in 2020 and 2021? Like, if I'm a GM, I want more details on why
Yeah.
2020 and 2021 were not the same as his rookie year and
Well,
his
wait,
contract year.
John Gruden.
I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying that
Because
there's
it's
not
really
a
a different.
valid
I mean, it's a
reason.
different offense, but I
Yeah.
mean to throw John Gruden under the bus like that.
I
But
mean,
different
he
offense.
did well with Gruden as a rookie.
It's true.
Like I just want answers is really all I'm saying.
Scott
But
saying 3 years, 22 mil for Monty compared to 4 for 50 for Saquon. Give me Monty all
see,
day.
but really when I'm looking at that though, I'm seeing for Monty 2 years probably 12 mil. And for because like what once you where you cut out the fat and that's what the contract probably is, right?
Yeah,
Versus the numbers for Saquon, it's probably 3 years like
36
let's
maybe.
see, 36
30.
or two, either 2 or 3. A lot of these contracts now are really looking at 2 years, and
Well,
you
running back
you
injuries
can
happen
get
every
free.
week. They happen every week, and then you throw
Yeah,
a guy that's prone in there. It's brutal, but yeah, it's like if we don't re-sign Monty, I mean, I'll probably be a little disappointed because I feel like they didn't even give him a send off. That's a guy that every week went to war for a terrible organization, a
oh,
terrible team, and it's just like
absolutely.
it'll suck, but maybe the grass is a little greener on the other side, whether it's the draft or free agency at running back. But it's just an awful situation altogether.
Yeah, so I'd have to think that with Saquon, you're talking like 10 mil per year, like that he's really getting for 2 to 3 years, maybe 2 years, 25 mil versus Monty at 2 years, 12 mil. And I mean, at that point, it all comes down to the structure. When can you get out of the contract? And if Saquon's contract is going to be hard to get out of, it becomes a no deal. But if it's 2 year deal at the end of the day, then that's easy to
Dude,
me.
we have to just go full Madden off season and just go scorched earth and just spend every dollar in the account and just hope that Ryan Poles wakes up before 9 o'clock this draft season to find the right guys. But let's hit your hypotheticals and then let's get into our build a bear exercise. Build a bear.
Okay. So option one, and all these options, it's wide receiver, offensive tackle, defensive lineman. So option one is T. Higgins, Paris Johnson, and Isaiah Foskey.
Stop. I'm just kidding. Keep going. If you
Or
know me, you know the joke behind that because Foskey's my guy. But
option two, Alan Lazard, Matthew Bergeron, and Jalen Carter.
you had to ask me because there's an ND guy involved. Dude, actually, I'm actually back on the Jalen Carter train
Yeah.
for reasons that are not football. You heard about what he did last year, right?
Yeah. With the walk on.
Yeah, Todd McShay or whoever. I think it was McShay. McShay is holding
The
a
character
major out.
questions
That's
are
absolute
always just
bullshit.
empty
That's bullshit.
comments.
Yeah.
The same
And
way as Justin Fields is the first out of the building.
yeah, that's fine.
Remember that for all we know, that was Ryan Pace putting that out there, trying to make him drop.
Yeah, the only one that I know is true is Mitch did ask for the TVs in Hallis Hall to be turned off. But other than that, I just think that, yeah, if you get a chance to get Jalen Carter, because we're going to trade, right? We're going to trade. Quarterbacks will probably be selected. If we can get the number 4 pick or like 5 pick and still get Jalen Carter, you got to. But
Yeah.
I just think it's unless you have confirmed proof that a guy is a character issue guy or like just not a captain or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like not up to your standards. then maybe you could put something out there. But a guy that was buying meals for an entire calendar year for a walk-on player at Georgia, on top of being probably the best football player on the defensive line in this draft, I won't say overall, but the best defensive lineman in this draft, put him on the Bears. That's a guy that I want.
Yeah. I mean, I'm right there with you. I've been driving that train since December. But
well, I know you have. And
all right, so this is kind of like going to like the eye doctor where it's like 1 or 2, 2 or 3. So now we're gonna go 2 or 3. So you chose Alan Lazard, Matt Bergeron, and Jalen Carter. Option 3, Josh Downs, Mike McGlinchey, and Will Anderson.
Yeah, I think I'm still going 2 because you get Lazard, proven production in the NFL. It's also a middle finger to the Packers if he does well. That would just be hilarious. I would love to dance on their grave about that. Because also, if you saw this week, Amos didn't re-sign. And then I know I trust your judgment on Bergeron. I've seen a little bit of him, but definitely not his whole clip. And yeah, back to Jalen Carter. That's just a dude. But I will say this. I saw Josh Downs play live last year, Notre Dame, North Carolina in South Bend. It was like a 50-43 shootout. Absolutely the same game. The guy is a phenomenal receiver. I just worry about us attacking only like the smaller receivers. Like I want us to get a more possession guy, and I think Lazard gives you that a little bit more. He's not huge, but he's got a little bit more size to him than Downs. And then, yeah, you really put me between a rock and a hard place with 2 Notre Dame. You put McGlinchey on the third one, and you put Foskey on the first one. And I am powerless over my love for Notre Dame, but I did not pick a Notre Dame group.
All right, so you chose option 2, still sticking with option 2. So now we're going to go to option 4. Quentin Johnson, Caleb McGarry, and Mozzie Smith.
Now you're pitting my love of Quentin Johnson against me too. This is an incredible exercise. Yeah, I got to stick to my guns, dude. You get Jalen Carter. You get maybe he made a Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl is not even real anymore, so that doesn't count. But a guy that's productive in the NFL in Lazard, and Matthew Bergeron just sounds like an offensive lineman name.
Yeah,
so
he just feels like a bear to me. That's one of the reasons I like him, man. Just because he can play like any position.
Who's your group?
Let's go through option 5 first, and I'll tell you.
Holy shit. One. You keep opening trap doors. I thought you were only going to do 2, bro.
So far, we've stuck with Alan Lazard, Matt Bergeron, and Jalen Carter. Option 5 is Jackson Smith and Jigba, Darnell Wright, and Marcus Davenport.
In the Saints?
Yep. The whole idea here was 1 free agent and two draft picks in the top 50.
You can't, in the same sentence say Alan Lazard over Jackson Smith and Jigba. But I think the sum of the parts on Team 2 is still what I'll stay with. But only because there's so much depth at the end and at receiver because I think even if Lazard is a guy that you want to go after, I think this is maybe a 2 wide receiver free agent / draft. Like I think we'll probably pick up 2 at least. But those are some good ones. All right, who did you pick? Because I know
I'm on the same as you. Option 2, option 5 with Smith and Jigba, Wright and Davenport is the closest.
That's a trap door one.
Me, or maybe I love Mozzie Smith, so the Quentin Johnson, McGarry, Mozzie Smith one is close for me. But option 2 is the winner, just because as I started thinking of this idea because I've been doing so many mock drafts lately, and it's like there are just so many tackles who I like through like pick 60. Probably even 70 in the mocks, 70 to 80 range in the mocks. And there's so many defensive ends I really like too. But there's only a handful of 3 techs and not many wide receivers. So like getting a 3 tech or a wide receiver at the top of the draft is important to me here because I have no other route to get those guys that I think are real game changers.
Yeah,
so to me, it's like get one of those two.
If you don't end up getting one of the marquee receivers, you have to get them in the draft.
Yeah,
we cannot,
and
we cannot go. We cannot go into next season with Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, and Equanimeous St. Brown.
Yeah,
we're doing Justin Fields no favors, you know.
Yeah,
and then Bears fans will be like, he's not good because he has no one fucking throw to.
Yeah, but
I still love Darnell Mooney, and Chase Claypool, and obviously EQ. But like, for fuck's sake, like if we want it, this is what it looks like. This is what it reminds me of. Justin Fields. You ever seen the meme of like the Ferrari underneath the carport? It's just like a muggy day, carport. It's like if you own a Ferrari, bro, you have to have a garage. You have to have somewhere that said Ferrari can stay. You can't like live in an apartment complex like me, right? And park your Ferrari at the apartment complex. That's just not the rules of conduct for a Ferrari. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why the fuck would we have a quarterback and not give him what he wants? Hopefully, Poles is that dude,
and I'm give him something.
I am willing to change and take back every bad thing I've ever said about Ryan Poles if he gets it right this offseason, because there's an argument to be made that it's the biggest offseason in all of Bears history. Number one draft pick, $100 million, saying goodbye to I was about to say the state, but the city of Chicago, and getting a mega facility that you can host the Super Bowl and create so much more revenue and own on your own. As the oldest franchise in the NFL, you should probably own your stadium that you play in by now. We don't. Yeah. So it is a monumental time for Bears fans, for the organization, for the players that are currently on the roster that are going to stick with us, and all of the new Bears that we're going to see this offseason. There's going to be a lot, but we have to get it right. And when we do, we're going to be shaking champagne on the live stream. Hopefully after, dude, I don't know how long we'll have to have the podcast to get one Super Bowl. Like we've had it for 4 years and we have no playoff wins. And I want to do a sabermetrics, like go back and look like what the Bears record is during the time since Bears on Tap has been on the air. Because I promise you, there's been a lot more loss recaps than wins. So
yeah,
100%.
No, I forgot. I thought of something in there.
Oh, you're good.
Got distracted and
I went off. That's my bad. Let's see. So Alap says Alap won option 1. He also said it's lying season. These insiders are pushing narratives for GMs so players drop. Also, just don't get your information from Benjamin Albright. Alap said Matt Bergeron. I like that. It actually has a good ring to it. Matt Bergeron. But let's get to our Build-A-Bear. Let's build our Bears through the draft. We posted a graphic on the Twitter that Quentin created. I kind of beveled it a little bit. I made it a little bit.
Sick.
Is that sick or what?
I think I just realized. In my rush of this, I think I made it too easy.
No, yeah, I beveled it so like the bear is a little bit oranger. I was like, I'm gonna do a little edit to it, and I was literally just looking at the Twitter filters. I am no expert, but I do know that bear fucks. So with that being said, Quinn has put together a Build the Best Bears draft with $15. I'm going to run through the list, and I'm going to run through the prices because obviously we don't – or could you pull the graphic up?
I needed 5 positions in here for $15 because I think it's 2 because you can do like 2 $5 ones and then still have enough money to get like a 2 and a 3 at 15.
Okay. Let me see. Again, remember, the guy that adds up his totals when he does a basketball bet is now in control of this. You have to give me a second. So
I think I was rushing through to get this out, and then I was like, I think I got the numbers.
Well, for the exercise, you don't always have to spend the whole $15, though. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. But
I just meant like I can get Jalen Carter and Will Anderson and still get other stuff.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, it's a sicko exercise, but all intents and purposes, it's getting a lot of traction. 713 views, and we just started a half hour ago. So, if you looked at it already, shout out.
Ride with it.
Yeah, we love you. But it is Build the Best Bears draft with $15. So by position, the 4 positions that are available are interior defensive line, edge rusher, offensive tackle, and wide receiver. And then you have prices ranging from $5 all the way down to $1. So in the $5 category at interior defensive line, it's Jalen Carter. The $4 price for interior defensive line is Brian Brees. The $3 interior defensive or Brizzy, my bad. The $3 one is this one's definitely going to put me in a blender. Kalijah Cansey, did I get that right?
Kalijah,
okay.
Right there.
As you all know, I'm not the name guy. And then $2 Keanu Benton, and then $1 the guy from Northwestern.
Adetamwa Adebaware.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Johnny, but
I've been practicing that one in the mirror.
All right, hold on. Let's do it. Adetamwa Adebaware. I did it. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
The less you think about it, the easier it gets. But the longer you
think
it, the harder it gets.
If this is your first episode of the show, I add up my totals when I bet a basketball over, and I cannot pronounce names for the fucking life of me. But at edge, $5 guy is Will Anderson. $4 guy is Miles Murphy. $3 guy is Keon White, Georgia Tech. $2 guy is Zach Harrison. And $1 guy is Mike Morris. At tackle, $5 guy is Paris Johnson. $4 guy is Peter Skoronsky, another Northwestern guy. $3 guy is Darnell Wright. And $2 guy is Quinn's guy, Matthew Bergeron. And then $1 is Wanya Morris. At receiver, you have Quinn Johnson for $5, Jackson Smith and Jigba for $4, Josh Downs for $3, Parker Washington for $2, and Xavier Hutchinson for $1. Quinn, since I did the last one first, you go first this time.
Okay, so I'm going Jalen Carter, $5. And I think we should run through this twice, once at $15 and once at $10. And we can send out a fresh one that says $10 as like a reply if you want more of a challenge.
Just get real stingy with it.
So for the $15 one, Jalen Carter, and then I'm taking Quentin Johnson because, like I was saying earlier, there are only a handful of receivers in this class who really do it who are like that. Or actually, you know what? I might go Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, and that's an Ohio State guy too. He didn't. I don't know if he played with Fields. Maybe he got a year or so.
A little bit. They practiced together, but I think he caught like 2 passes Fields last year at Ohio State or something like that. I'm going Jalen Carter, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. So that puts me at $9. So I have $6 to spare.
Edge and
Zach
tackle.
Harrison at edge. So that puts me at $11. I got $4 left. Give me Darnell Wright. And I'm leaving $1 on the table.
For a little tip, just leave a tip for the waitress.
I just with Skoronsky,
he's a Packers fan, dude.
I think he's a really, really good football player. And I think he's going to make an incredible guard in the NFL. I just don't every time I've watched his tape, there are just 3 or 4 plays
each game.
He just gets wrecked by length. And I do not think that is something that gets better in the NFL. And at the college level, you can hide those 3 or 4 plays, but I think once he gets to the next level on an island, he's gonna see some trouble there with it. And it's like, again, he'll be a solid tackle, but I don't think he's going to be a great tackle. And for that price, I think Darnell Wright could be a really, really good right tackle.
All right, let me pull the list up and see who I'm going with. So, I'm going to be the Quentin Johnson guy, but he's not like the first one. But he's a $5 guy, so I'm also taking him first. And Carter, so I'll go Carter and Johnson, 5. So that's 5 and 5 up to 10, and then I have to get an edge and a tackle with the remaining 5, and I'm going to go Keon White at edge for $3. I am not going to leave a tip. I'm going to get Matthew Bergeron with the other 2.
There you go.
Just 15 even.
I like it.
2 5 stars, 2 blue chippers, 2 guys that are solidified first round guys, and then Keon White and Matthew Bergeron. Who, like, could you imagine if any variation of these like four guys, like at each of these positions, ended up all on the Bears? Like that would be insane.
There's a path to it, maybe. To some of the combos, like if the Bears were to trade down with the Seahawks or the Lions and take both their first round picks this year, you could see them getting potentially like a Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson, I think, at 6 or 5. Potentially not a lock by any means. You'd need a lot of luck. And then Paris Johnson or definitely Quentin Johnston, I think you could get with their second pick. Maybe not definitely, but again, you need a lot of luck. But like there is a way to that, I think. But let's roll through it at $10. This is the one that's more fun, a little more difficult.
A little sicko.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So I think I gotta start with Jalen Carter. Like I just look at these names. The difference between Carter to Brzee, Canty, Benton, and Adebaware is just it's a entire house. You know.
Well, quite literally by the contract too. Like if you want to get technical, the house will be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I see that some in edge rusher, like the drop off from Will Anderson to like Miles Murphy or Keon White is there, but I don't know if Will Anderson. I'm in the minority on this, I think, but I am worried about a guy at 240 pounds. And I've seen the tape. I've seen how he handles power, and he does well. But I'm just worried about a guy at 240 pounds playing with his hand in the dirt every single snap and needing to win with power on the edge. I'm just not. It makes me skeptical. Yeah. If I put Tyree Wilson there instead of Will Anderson, I might consider it. But even then, I think the drop off from Wilson to Murphy, it's big, but it's not as big as Carter to Brzee. So I'm going Jalen Carter at $5. So I got $5 left for the last 3 spots.
Oof.
Give me.
Go 2-2-1, 3-1.
Zach Harrison, and I like Keon White, and like you definitely see the explosiveness in flashes in his tape, and it's ridiculous. But when I watch Zach Harrison, it's like he's cruising a lot of the game. He's asked to do a lot of contain, and just so it kind of looks like he's not doing a lot, but really he's just protecting the edge, I think.
Yeah.
And then when they need a play, Zach Harrison makes a play. It seems as simple as that on his tape. He just flips a switch, gets the job done, and Ohio State wins. Like it's almost ridiculous in some of these games, and I think he's too low on a lot of draft boards right now.
Ohio is not a state. Let me put that out there.
So that puts me at $7. Then give me my dude Matt Bergeron for another 2 to put me up to 9. Bergeron can play tackle or guard. He can play left side. He can play right side. I think I'd want to keep him at tackle. But if you're, really locked into the thing that I really like about Bergeron is he just gives you so much flexibility. If you're locked into Braxton Jones at left tackle and you've already signed Mike McGlinchey or Caleb McGarry, he can play guard. And if someone gets hurt, he can kick back out to tackle. Like that flexibility.
The flexibility and versatility on the O-line. We were talking about that last week. Or 2 weeks ago. It's especially when you're a draft prospect, you gotta have it. You absolutely have to have it. If you're a center, you got to be able to play guard. If you're a tackle, you got to be able. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be able to bounce around. But
then I'm going $1 on Xavier Hutchinson at wide receiver because outside it and Smith and Jigba and Quentin Johnston. I think Downs, Parker Washington, Xavier Hutchinson end up probably grading out. And I haven't watched a lot of the receivers, so I don't know this, but it's just my gut feeling is they end up with being a lot closer in general to each other than the rest of this board is. So I'll just take my shot on one of those 3. The one that I can afford is Xavier Hutchinson, so give me him.
So, Math Guy has developed a strategy while you were giving the stream your guys. So I'm going to go 4-3-2-1.
Okay.
Right? That's 10. Yeah, I had to second guess myself for a second there, but I was like, I have to redraft. Hold on. So for $4, I'm gonna go Jackson Smith and Jiggle. I think you have to. If you're on a budget like this, you only have $10 to spend. I want to get the receiver that Justin Fields wants. For $3, I think I'm still sticking to my guns, dude. I think I'm still taking the same $3 and $2 players just because I think for the bargain bin guys, like, and I'm not saying bargain bin because those are guys that are getting drafted like the end of day one, early day two. But for the sake of our exercise, I'm still going to stick Keon White and Bergeron, but I have to test myself here. Interior defensive line for $1. Adetomo. Oh, I fucked it up. Say it with me.
Adetomo Adebawore.
Adetomo Adebawore.
The harder it gets. But if you
no, yeah, I literally said it right. I said it right the first time, and the second time I'm like, oh god. And I was so hyped because I was like, okay, if I go Jackson Smith and Jigba for 4, I still can get a 3, 2, and 1. So I think I did all right. But let me go through. There's a lot of people that have,
actually. So I really like the idea too of Smith and Jigba, Bergeron, Harrison, Benton. Because I really like Keon.
I was gonna say I was thinking about Benton, but I didn't have enough money. I would have went over the cap at $1.
You got a downgrade from Keon White to Zach Harrison.
The math wasn't mathing, but so there's like 4 or 5 quote tweets of people that have done theirs, and then people in the comments.
What do they got?
At Polls Goat picked Cansey, Anderson, Wright, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Matt Burke said this is tough.
I like that.
Shout out, Shy Burke.
Where's that? So that's Cansey, Anderson. So that's 8. Wright brings it to 11, 15 on the dot.
The math was mathing for Polls. A lot did one, and he put his money signs next to it for us. Thank you a lot. Jalen Carter 5, Peter Skoronsky 4, Jackson Smith and Jigba 4, Zach Harrison 2. It's a good one.
That is a good one.
A lot of the higher level guys. Coach Dale at Diesel DC 3, Carter, Anderson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then he said Tony. I'm assuming that's our guy. That's Northwestern guy.
Wait, okay. Who is it?
He said Tommy, so he's talking about Adetomo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Tony.
He's talking about Adebawore. I'm just gonna go Adebawore because I can say it 100 times. And then
I think his nickname is Tony, or it might be Tommy. I don't know.
Tommy, yeah. Like a Rock says Anderson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cansey, and Wright, and then someone in the comments also says Brzee, Skoronsky, Jackson Smith, and Jigba and Wright. So a lot of activity, over 1,000 views already. So as the night goes on, more people will interact with that.
And we'll reply out a fresh one at $10 for
the bargain
who want a real mind bender.
Absolutely. But is there anything else that you want to address on this week's show? I think we went through it all. I mean, I'm still just ready. Just like get me to draft day, get me to the Bears are on the clock. The trade is in because they'll say the pick is in and the pick's going to be a trade, but that's fine. Like we're still going to have a pick on the first day. The hopes are that we can maybe acquire 2 first-round picks. You should get a king's ransom for this pick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, so the expectation is you get 2, right? You trade down to 4, you're getting Indy's pick next year, which is like Indy might be picking top 5 next year.
Dude, they're gonna suck again. Yeah.
I mean, and the beauty of it is like, as much as I love Justin Fields and I want him to succeed, and I believe he's going to succeed, there's always a chance that a guy doesn't succeed, right? The chance is always there. But if you're sitting there next year saying, we got, pick, let's just say 15 and pick number 4, and whoever has the top pick already has a quarterback, you can start having a lot of fun thinking about Caleb Williams.
Oh my God, don't say
And I mean, I'm saying I don't believe that's going to be the case
that.
because I think Justin Fields is going to do it, but I love a good backup plan, you know?
Yeah. And he is a dog.
Yeah.
I love Caleb Williams, but I don't listen.
And
This is my dog. This is my dog.
If you don't need him and your pick is high enough for him or Drake May, suddenly you're sitting there saying, I can trade down again. And your return starts becoming exponential real quick. Like you turn the number 1 overall pick into like 4 first-round picks at that point, maybe 5.
Yeah, you're just wheeling and dealing at that point.
Yeah. There's just a lot of ways to I mean, look at the Eagles. The Eagles have done a master's class in how to do this. They have 2 first-round picks again this year. They had 2 last year. I mean, they just keep trading down.
And they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's just stupid. Like, Ed, the guy, Ian Cunningham was with Philly. You know, this has to be a thought in his head. So, I mean, there's just a lot. And I just remember what I was thinking of earlier when you were ranting about this being the most important Bears offseason in the history. That right there is why. That ability to go get a pick for next year that could be top 5. And the ability to take that pick and if Fields works out to turn that into more future top 15 picks at least probably. I mean, that is a huge, huge benefit to have. And the Bears have it. You don't come across this opportunity often. You probably, as a fan, you probably only see this opportunity once in your life, you know, where your team has the number 1 pick and they don't need the number 1 pick.
yeah, because the draft is a weird thing where it's like a couple months ago it was Carter and Anderson at 1, and that's what we were all talking about. And now it is solidified that it's going to be one of the quarterbacks. We just don't know who, So
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's beautiful. I don't like the way that all the series of events have unfolded to create for us to even get the number 1 pick, right? Week 18, the Texans beat the Colts. We lose literally every fucking game that we played this year. Like, I know we won 3, but we didn't win any games. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we did it in a year where we maybe had a low, like, I definitely had higher expectations than what we saw on the field. But they say everything happens for a reason, right? Not to get too tinfoil hat, but you trade up in a previous regime and you go up and get who you think to be is the guy, Justin Fields, right? And now, $100+ million, the number 1 pick, and like you said, probably another top 15 pick, top 10 pick this year. Hopefully, another top 10, top 15 pick next year. You know what I'm saying? And then,
I mean, if they're moving down further than, I mean, honestly, 4, it's 3. I think your price is 3 first-round picks.
Price keeps going up. That's the most important thing to keep in mind, Bears fans. Just keep wheeling and dealing. Ryan Poles, we're about to see if he's a master negotiator right here. Like if he knows the art of a deal. I was once told AFC always fucking close. And yeah, that's basically what we need him to do. And if he can take care of the business and we still get one of the guys that we talked about in both exercises today, or we stay in the top 5 this year, and the team that we traded to sucks so bad they stay in the top 5 next year. That just continues the more like that goes on the storyline of how we are going to be able to build this team and turn it around. And as crazy as it sounds, if the Bears are able to build a Super Bowl contender or a Super Bowl winner out of this team that they're going to build, because it's definitely not going to be with the guys we got in that locker room right now. You have to remember these small moments. These are huge turning points. You know what I'm saying? So be careful who we trade with. I definitely now, all things considered, want it to be the Colts or the Texans because they're both garbage organizations. Jim Irsay is probably hammered right now.
We know that, I mean, Eberflus is going to get a linebacker in this draft, right?
100%.
Who's it going to be? I don't know who. Like, I've had a really hard time as I'm going through these mocks, trying to. Cause I'm trying to be conscious of that. Like, Eberflus is a linebacker mentally. You know, when he was a player, he was a
That is,
linebacker. He came into coaching as a linebacker. Like,
that
but
is
it's
after he signs Bobby Okereke too, because Okereke's already a Bear.
yeah. So like, I think I'm watching out for Jack Campbell out of Iowa. I
Say
think
less.
he's
Iowa,
the biggest fit. Yeah. Yeah, I know
dude.
Joey's going nuts right now, but
Joey is just creaming right now. But dude, if you have the all Big Ten linebacker core, like that's just cool and tough. That's just Midwest. And we've, at least from my perspective, outside of Notre Dame, the Bears really don't utilize the schools that are around us. Illinois,
yeah.
Wisconsin, Iowa, Kentucky. They got Valus from Tennessee. That's kind of close. You know what I'm saying? But, utilize the schools that are around you to find the talent.
Dude. So
I've seen Toto in a lot of drafts, though, in a lot of mocks. Henry Toto.
yeah. Toto makes some sense, but like
The former
all these guys
tennis.
are light. All these guys are so
No,
light in
yeah.
the pants. And I don't think that's what they're looking for.
Well, he basically said they don't got enough meat. But sometimes you got to remember, this is a podcast that was built on putting your meat on the table. But I think the position is just changing. The position is just changing, though, dude. The linebackers, we're not looking at Lance Briggs and Brian Urlachers or Ray Lewis's anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The position's a lot different. They're smaller guys.
Right, but the scheme doesn't call for that, I don't think. Like it's I mean, I guess you could be smaller, but you need to be able to fight through the blocks, which it's harder to do when you're smaller. And I think that's part of the benefit of going back to this type of scheme right now is that the these guys are cheaper in draft capital and in dollars to find because there's not much of a market for them. Right. So like a guy like Noah Sewell, who might not go in the top 100, like
he has a motor though,
in this scheme. It's like, I mean, Bill Belichick's been doing it for years. He changes his scheme every time, like his personnel to what the NFL's not doing because it's easier to find those guys.
Bill Belichick will be at the Chattanooga Pro Day. It's a week from today. But
yeah,
yeah,
Sewell doesn't have the length though. Like I know
he's a little guy. Yeah.
And
obviously he has the name recognition with his brother.
Like,
but
Drew
I've seen him play.
Could make some sense, but he's so raw. He misses a lot of tackles.
Yeah, well,
which doesn't sound like their guy. I really think Jack Campbell's a guy they're going to target.
A man once told me that linebackers don't need to tackle in today's NFL. So,
or my personal favorite in the 7th round, Ryan Greenhagen out of Fordham.
Yes, say less. Fordham.
I haven't watched.
I didn't even know that football.
All I know
Fordham
about
has a
him is
football
his
team?
size, and he's 245 pounds at 6'1". So he might not have the length, but he brings the hammer.
Well, he's probably 243. The other 2 pounds are his neck roll, but like that guy, 100% has to wear a neck roll, like without even having to see him. But yeah, I just the possibilities are endless, bro, at every position too, and that's why it's going to be so hard from a content not necessarily hard from a content standpoint, but like we're probably not going to be right this year outside of maybe the first round because it's such a crapshoot. Maybe we'll predict some of the free agents because I know that's one thing that every year we always take pride in as a part of this podcast is trying to figure out maybe we won't get the guy, but we'll get the position group. But I know in years past, just to name a few, like Amp, who does more articles and he doesn't podcast anymore, he got Mooney. He picked Darnell Mooney to go to the Bears. That is the most random and crazy draft pick prediction that we've had. I picked Komet when they got him. I know we've had people that have picked other ones like Jalen Johnson and stuff.
I called Brisker live last year.
Yeah, Brisker on the show last year. We as a podcast, I think, just kind of said corner. So we didn't say that they were going to get Gordon, but we were just like, I think they're going corner here. But yeah, dude, that's the most fun part, especially with having the show and doing articles, is to try and predict who we're going to get. And I just think this year you'll drive yourself crazy because there's so many different combinations, as you saw with what we just did with the $15 and $10 exercise. So
Yeah. I think I'm excited. Free agency's got to get here. It's going to change the entire draft outlook.
2 final comments, and then we'll close out for the show for today. But Scott says Laporta #Hawkeyes, and Alop says MOTT player. Meet on the table. Yes, we'll have to add the MOTT rating to the draft exercise for the stream this year.
Yeah.
But, we'll have to sit down and figure out what their MOTT score is. But do you have any final thoughts before we close out today's show?
Well, we also got the Gotti rating.
What's the Gotti
GOTDIH. Got that dog in him.
Got that dog in him, yep. Well, shit. That was a good show. It was a good one, man. I'm glad you came up with those, because I was not when you told me to send a graphic, I thought you were talking about just like to put a graphic up on the show while we were talking. I had no idea that it was going to be an exercise that gave us a great second half of the show. But yeah, man, I'm very excited. We did take a week off last week, but that won't be a thing. Like, we're obviously going to be back, like we said, with this being a very important offseason. We'll be here every step of the way. Do you have the exact date that free agency starts? Because it's got to be right around the corner. I know it's usually like the first or second week of March.
I think it's the 12th. Let me double check that.
So we'll be in the trial. I mean, I wouldn't even be opposed to doing a free agency special, because if you have the most money, right, in free agency, theoretically, you should be just like the first person to make that splash signing, right?
March 13th is when the tampering period opens up. March 15th is when the stuff can go official.
Okay, March 13th to 15th. So we'll be back a couple times before then, but I mean, I wouldn't even be opposed to doing a free agent special.
Yeah.
Right? Because similar to the draft, we're going to be right there.
I mean, we're pretty much going to need to. It's going to be busy. Like, there's going to be.
I'm saying like the second that shit, like the stock market, like ding, Bears on Tap is live. Like, we're here, because if you have the most money, like I said, theoretically, you should be spending money right away.
Yeah.
There should be no hesitation in our free agency plans, because if you sit on your hands, you're going to lose an opportunity as some guys. But that's another story for another day. It was a great episode. I'm glad to be back on the mic. Make sure to throw Quentin a follow at Butkus Stats, and make sure
go check out my offensive tackle preview.
You just put out an offensive tackle preview article.
And it has YouTube videos for each of the 5 guys that I talked about.
Full breakdowns?
It's Orlando Brown, who's going to get tagged, I think, if it's not official yet. And then Mike McGlinchey, Caleb McGarry, Jawan Taylor, and Isaiah Wynn.
Well, there you have it.
On each.
And don't forget to continue with the model, putting together the free agents and the draft picks. And then obviously we have a couple of new graphics, obviously, that Quentin worked on with the $15, and we'll put down a $10 Build-A-Bear workshop graphic. But,
Build-A-Bear workshop.
Yeah, Build-A-Bear workshop. Or Build the Bears, I guess you should say. But we'll say Build-A-Bear because it just sounds so much better. But yeah, great episode. Show Quentin some love. Follow him at Butkus Stats. Go ahead and follow the main account at Bears on Tap. And then follow me at BeatOn300. I'm back in triple digits. It took me like 2 months to get 101 followers back, which I guess I just don't get love out here in these streets anymore. But find a way to get back to being beat on 700, because it's like, I didn't even have that many followers to begin with. But 101 is not good enough. We'll be back with you guys either next Wednesday or Thursday to get you guys more prepared for free agency. And then obviously we'll still be talking some draft. But as always, whether you're with us for the whole hour or just a couple minutes, we do appreciate you showing some support. Like, comment, and subscribe on the podcast, and stay tuned because I see that they've been doing madness with the YouTube shorts. Our shorts, not to suck our own dicks real quick, but our shorts are doing numbers. And I like looking at them. Our video editor, Brian, does a great job. And I just think it adds a whole new element to our show where it looks so much more professional than just like two dudes just sitting here with a spreadsheet out talking about the Bears, So
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Everything is coming together in the most important offseason. So I think there's no better time. But really do appreciate you all for listening to this week's show. Throw everyone a follow. We'll be back to you guys next week. And bear down.
Bear down.